In this session, we'll be actually seeing about three important financial functions, which is IRR, XIRR, and NPV. So, first concept, what we are going to see is IRR, which stands for internal rate of return. So, what is actually this internal rate of return? Is nothing but this internal rate of return is used to calculate your profits. It is used to calculate the profit, internal profits for the investment that you have made. That is actually called as internal rate of return. So this can also be defined as the annual rate of growth that your investment is expected to generate. Now, in short, if you are investing something, what will be the annual growth rate of your investment? Okay, that is called as internal rate of return. So now let us go on with the example. So let us say I'm taking this first zeroth year, which means the cash outflow. This is called, or this is the amount which you are investing. Okay, this is nothing but your cash outflow. This is your cash outflow. This is your amount invested. So this is your cash outflow. So the all the remaining things are your cash inflows. Okay, which is nothing but your income that is being generated in the consecutive years. So this is your cash inflow and this is your cash outflow. So how we are going to calculate the internal return using the function which is being provided in Excel, we'll be seeing it. So my first question is, what is the internal rate of return after 3 years, okay, of investment? So this is the question here. So let us type the formula. So function here, we have an inbuilt function in Excel. So I'm going to give equal to IRR of internal rate of return of only the values we are going to select it here. So I'm going to always remember in IRR we'll be selecting the cash outflow value also, including your cash inflows. So I'm going to select, since after 3 years they have asked, so I'll be selecting from 0 to 3, because after third year only we need the values. Just give enter. Okay, so you're getting a negative value here. Okay, why negative value? Because the payment in the initial year is more than your uh, previous year's income. Okay, so if you see here, this, if you consolidate all the values and see, okay, so we are getting a sum of around 45,000. So this 45,000 is lesser than your investment. Okay, so that is why we are getting your minus value. And one more thing I wanted to say here is, always remember in cash outflow you'll be including a negative sign here or a minus sign here. So cash outflow minus 70,000 and others will be your cash inflow. So that is why other things are mentioned as positive, and I hope you can understand why minus 18% we have obtained, because all these three values, if we sum up also, we will be getting only 45,000, which is lesser than your 70,000. Okay, that is why we'll be getting a negative value here. Now I wanted to find the entire internal rate of return after 5 years. Okay, so this is also a simple formula, which is you're going to give equal to IRR of, okay, IRR of the entire range of values you are going to select it. Just close the bracket and give enter. Okay, so this is 8.7%. This is the internal rate of return I'm getting after all the five cash inflows I'm receiving it here. So let us say in two projects, they may ask you a question like, in two project A, you're getting internal rate of return of let us say project A, you're getting a internal rate of return of 8.7 percentage, and project B, you're getting a project B, you're getting a internal rate of return of, let us say, 10 percentage. Okay, which project will you prefer? Okay, so then we have to go for the highest. Okay, then we have to go for the highest. Sorry, then we have to go for the highest internal rate of return. Then I'll prefer project B because this offers me highest internal rate of return. So can you understand how this concept works? For example, they may ask you in the exam, like, which project will you prefer? You have two projects, A and B, and the project A has 8.7 and project B has 10%. Like, after calculating using IRR, which infer that what project will you prefer, then obviously the project with higher IRR will be preferred. Okay, so this is the concept of IRR. Now let us move on to the next concept, which is XIRR, which stands for extended internal rate of return. So extended internal rate of return, this is my full form of it. Now, what does this XIRR stands for? So we already have a concept called IRR. Why XIRR is needed? So let me just explain you. So IRR and XIRR, what is the difference between both? So in IRR, if you see, you'll be calculating periodic, okay, periodic cash flows will be counted. Periodic cash flows will be counted here. But here you will not have, no, it is not periodic in XIRR. So that is the main difference of what we have. So if you see in IRR, we'll be calculating uniformly, like after first year, after second year. So a year's gap is being present. But this XIRR, let us say I'll not, usually in businesses, will not be calculating, will not be receiving cash flow periodically sometimes. We'll be getting it on certain dates. So how will we calculate that? For this thing, we have the function called XIRR. So let us go on to the definition first. If we see, extended internal rate of return, or the XIRR function, calculates the internal rate of return for an irregular series of cash flows or installments. This cash flow is not periodic, unlike other payments. It returns the internal rate of return of a schedule of cash flows that is not necessarily periodic. To calculate the internal rate of return, if it is for a periodic cash flows, then we'll be using what? Then we'll be using IRR function. So you have to remember these two things. Okay, when you see if it is a periodic data, then we can go for IRR function. If it's not periodic data, if you have dates provided here, then you can go for XIRR function. Okay. So now we'll move on to the function here, XIRR function. So if you see, we have a cash flow. Okay. So cash outflow. This is cash outflow, which means the amount you are investing here, 10,000, you're investing it here. And after that, all these are your cash inflows. Okay. All all these are your cash inflows. So you have to remember it. So cash outflow, that's why I'm introducing a negative sign here. And the other things, you are my inflows. So we need not include any negative sign here. Okay. So just type equal to XIRR of, okay, XIRR of. Now again, it is similar to your IRR function, but you have a dates separately in the function. We have it here. So in the values, you'll be selecting all your cash outflow plus your inflow, comma, the dates value. So entire date I'm going to select it here. Okay, now close the bracket, just give enter. So I get a value here. To convert it into percentage, what I'm going to do is equal to, you can just select this cell. Mm, so I have converted already this cell into a percentage cell. That's why you are getting it. So let me demonstrate it for you. So equal to the cell you just selected. Either you can multiply it by 100. So you'll be getting a value here. Or let us say I want it in the form of percentage itself. So just give equal to this cell. Just give enter. Now, what you're going to do is selecting the cell. Here in the number column, you'll have a percentage symbol. Just select it once. Okay. So you'll be getting your percentage value here. So to increase your decimals, you can just give it the intent function there. Okay. Okay. Now let us move on to the next function, which is net present value. Okay, this is the last function which we'll be seeing now in this session, which is net present value function. So what is this net present value function if we see? It calculates the present value of the future value of a present value of a series of future cash flows. That is what it is called as net present values. Like what are the future, if we have a series of future cash flows, what will be their present value in total? That is what is net present value. Okay. So others will see it in detail. Now, simple thing is, so in NPV function, you'll have a discount rate, okay, which is here it has been provided as 10 percentage. And here, again, like we have the cash, this is my cash outflow or initial cost of investment, and the remaining three things are my returns, okay, from the first year, second year, and my third year. And one thing what they have mentioned in the question is like this is the initial cost of investment 1 year from today. Okay. So my initial cost of investment is not at the beginning. You have to remember. So here they have clearly mentioned it is not at the beginning itself. I'm not going to invest 10,000. Gradually, it may be gradually, or it can be like even at the end of the first year. Okay, sorry, in end of the uh, like 1 year period, I'm going to invest it. Okay, they may have balances here and there, and finally even they can settle it. So they are saying that the initial cost of investment is 1 year from today. Now it if the problem is like that, the formula is very simple. You can use equal to NPV of, okay, so my rate, the first thing here what I have is rate comma my values. Okay, what are the values I'm going to select is here, including your cash outflow and inflow. You have to calculate it. Now just close the bracket and give enter. Okay, so this is the value of your net present value for your investment, what you are making it here. Now, let us say if your initial cost of investment is the beginning of the year, is at the beginning of the year, then what you have to do is we have to change the formula again. Okay, so there is like let us say we'll have a shortcut for this, or this is the formula. If they are saying a person is investing at the beginning of the year, then this is the formula. Okay, so which is equal to net present value of a rate comma values, the same as your NPV function, plus you'll be including what your initial cost, you'll be including your initial cost. If they are asking at the end of the period, or like they are saying 1 year investment from today, something like that, only this thing is needed, not this thing is not needed. Okay, you have to remember that. So let us say here, if your first cash flow occurs at the beginning of the first period, okay, if it occurs at the beginning of the first period, the first value must be added to the net NPV result. Okay, so it must be added to the NPV result, not included in the values arguments. So you'll not be including in the values section, but you'll be adding it in the last section. We'll see when we are working it out here, how what they are meaning it. So next here is it is the same. When the initial investment is made at the start of the period, we can treat it. Okay, if the initial investment is made at the starting or beginning of the period, we can treat it as a cash in a cash flow at the end of the previous period, that is period zero. Okay, so we'll see. Now, this is my second example. It is going to be a second example. So here, what they say is the discount rate is 8%, and I have a series of years and my cash flows I have. So this is going to be my initial cost of investment at the beginning of the year itself. This is going to be at the beginning of my year, which is my cash outflow. This is going to be my what? Cash outflow. You have to remember that. So this is my cash outflow. Cash. This is going to be my cash outflow, and all the remaining things are my cash inflows, or the return which you are getting. Okay, so this is going to be my cash inflow, and or these are the returns which we'll be getting. So always, as we have seen for the previous problems, we'll be introducing a minus sign for our cash outflow, and this initial cost of investment is at the beginning of the period. Is at the beginning of the period. So we have to remember that. So initial cost of investment is at the beginning of the period. Okay. So if, for example, in the question, if we are giving only initial cost of investment, you need not consider it as the first problem, like first example model. Always you can consider it as the beginning of the period. Okay, so always when it is given as only initial cost of investment or cash outflow, make always consider that uh, as it is made at the beginning of the period only. Okay, now let us go on to the problem, which is equal to net present value of, okay, NPV of the rate they have asked. So I'm just selecting the discount rate, comma, the values which we are going to select. So as we have seen earlier, like except the inflow, or sorry, outflow value, will be calculating what? The remaining values. So I'll be selecting the inflows alone. So remember it. Okay, so inflows alone I'm selecting. Now close my bracket. Now include so we are going to add what? The outflows. The first value we'll be adding it here. Just give enter. Okay, so this is going to be the net present value when you are making the investment at the beginning of the period. So with this, IRR, XIRR, and net present value is over. Okay, so if you want, you can just see the formula here. So D17, which stands for your discount rate, then all your values, that is inflows plus your initial cost of investment.